Hello Cap. My name is Linda. I am your first officer today.
Hello, Linda. How are you?
I am fine, thank you.
I believe this is your first time flying with me, so I'll explain what I'm doing throughout the entire flight. Okay, today we are flying from Berlin, Brandenburg, Germany to Dresden, Germany. That's Echo, Delta, Delta, Bravo to Echo, Delta, Delta, Charlie. The weather is rainy and foggy, so this will be a challenging flight. Okay, let's get the cockpit lighting the way I like it here. Turn up the panel lighting and the flood lighting on the radio stack. And let's check out what's going on behind the cockpit doors. Everything looks good. Let's go up to the overhead. Turn the panel lights to 100% and the circuit breaker lights to 100%. Let's go over the tablet. Let's go into the Avy tab and then the map. And let's look at our flight plan. Okay, we take off from Berlin, Brandenburg, fly runway heading, then we turn towards DB059, then we turn towards IDOBA, then LUROS, then down to GARKI, and then we do the runway 22 approach into Dresden. All in all, a pretty simple flight plan. Okay, let's look for airport info on Berlin Brandenburg, EDDB. And let's search for the 20-9 airport info chart. Okay, we are located down here on taxiway B, getting ready to pull onto runway 07 right, which has a true heading of 065 degrees. And the ATIS for this airport is 123.780. There's 2 ground control frequencies, 2 apron frequencies, and 2 tower frequencies. All right, let's go back and look at the departure procedure. The departure procedure out of Berlin Brandenburg is going to be 20-3L4. And it's the LUROS 1 Zulu departure. Okay. So we take off, turn to heading of 080, then turn to heading of 103, till we get to IDOBA, then heading of 169, till we get to LUROS. All right, let's look for the info on our Dresden Airport, EDDC. And let's look at the 10-9 airport info chart for Dresden.
Delta 56, the wind is 160 degrees 6 knots, Delta 18 center, good line. Slow down, 18 center, Delta 5.
Okay. So the ATIS for Dresden is 118.880. We're planning on landing on runway 22. Notice it has a displace threshold. The runway is 9,350 feet long. And we'll plan on exiting left at taxiway Bravo, but we'll probably end up on Alpha. All right, let's go back and let's look at the ILS approach plate. 11-2 for ILS runway 22. Okay, this is the ILS runway 22 approach plate. The localizer frequency is 109.75. The approach course is 218 degrees. And the airport elevation is 754 feet. We'll have to look below for our decision heights. And the station name is IDRW. And for a Class C aircraft, our decision height is going to be 228 feet for a straight-in landing. Okay, let's leave this up for future reference. Let's go listen to the ATIS for Berlin-Brandenburg.
Berlin-Brandenburg information Charlie. 1500 Zulu weather. Wind calm, RVR 2200, rain. Sky conditions 500 overcast, temperature 14, dew point 13. Altimeter 2945. Arriving runway 07 left, departing runway 07 left. Advise on initial contact you have Charlie.
Okay, let's tune in the tower. And let's set our baro to 29.45. Same thing for the standby indicator. And let's turn on the flight director for the pilot and the co-pilot. Okay, let's tune in clearance delivery. And let's file our flight plan. Okay, we're flying at flight level 150. Let's insert our flight plan and request our IFR clearance. Brandenburg delivery, good evening. Zibo 7378 with information Charlie. Request IFR clearance to Dresden as filed.
Zibo 7378, cleared to Dresden via runway 07 right departure. Initial altitude 9,000 feet. Squawk 2404.
Clear to Dresden via runway 07 right departure. Initial altitude 9,000 feet. Squawk 2404, Zibo 7378. Okay, let's set our transponder to 2404.
Zibo 7378, read back correct. Contact ground on 129.605 when ready for startup. Set the transponder code 2404 as instructed.
Okay, our clearance altitude is 9,000 feet. And the runway heading was 65 degrees.
Maserati, routing Lasno, Vegas, Demos, flight level 360.
And let's go to a 30-degree bank angle and select heading mode.
Plus Lasno 1536, plus or minus.
Okay, let's go to the CDU. Go into the FMC menu and position a net. We are at EDDB. That is our reference airport. Go into the route menu. There's also our origin. Destination is EDDC. And our flight number is Zibo 7378. Okay, let's go into the departure arrival menu and let's select our departure from EDDB. It's going to be runway 07 right. And let's page down to see the LUR01 Zulu. Sid.
Push to point Bravo, QNH 1029.
Push start approved, point Bravo, QNH 1.
Okay, let's go in the route menu, departure arrival. Let's look at the EDDC arrival. Going to be ILS 22. It's the GAR 22 transition. Okay, select route, activate, and execute. Okay, let's go to the tablet. Go to the home page, fuel weight and balance, and payload. Let's set our payload to be 2,300 pounds.
Confirm first flyover waypoint in your SMS.
Okay, let's go to page 1.
Thank you. Monitor ground 121.8 for pushing.
Okay, we've got about 19,000 pounds of fuel. Takeoff weight is going to be 20. CG is going to be 22.6%. Let's go into the performance landing page. The runway is going to be 22, and it's going to be wet. And we're going to do a flaps 30, and our landing weight is going to be about 100,000 pounds. So let's see what that gives us. Let's go with auto brakes 3, AB 3, and that gives us a good safety margin. Okay, let's bring up the approach plate now for future reference. Let's go back to the CDU, go into the performance init page. Let's autofill our zero fuel weight. Our reserves are 2,000 pounds. Cost index is 60. And our cruise altitude is flight level 150. Our cruise winds are 284 degrees at 11 knots.
132575, airborne and Oscar Echoes, airport waypoint to 23 November.
Thank you, Eddie.
And our ISA deviation is -1.
1.1.8, November.
Okay, let's press the execute key. Let's go into the N1 limit page and autofill our outside air temperature. It's 15 degrees Celsius. We're going to do a 26K takeoff. Let's go into the takeoff menu. And our flaps are going to be 5. And our CG was 22.6%. Gives a stab trim of 4.5 degrees. Okay, that gives us a V1 of 119, V rotate of 120, and a V2 of 134. Okay, let's go look at our flight plan legs, see if we have any discontinuities, and we do. Let's fix that. Let's try that again. Yeah, that looks all good. Okay, let's look at our flight plan on the MFD. Let's go up here to plan mode. And let's step through our flight plan.
Ryanair 17 Juliet Hotel, contact ground 121.8. Morning.
118 to head down.
Okay, let's go back to the legs display. Okay, our flight plan looks all good. Go to the overhead here. Our flight altitude is going to be 15,000 feet, landing altitude of 750. Let's turn on the windshield wipers. Okay, Linda. Runway turn-off lights on.
Runway turn-off lights on.
Taxi lights on.
Taxi lights on.
Wing lights on.
Wing lights on.
Good morning. It's 38 Delta Bravo, number 29.
Beacon light on.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
You did proceed your PDC?
We have. This is great. That's very solid.
Beacon light on.
Check, QH check, and 132
Already on.
Okay, let's set the flaps to 5 degrees.
38 Delta Bravo, push and start to release point Bravo.
Push and start release point Bravo. This is 38 Delta Bravo.
Flaps 5 set.
Okay, let's go to the radio stack here. DRN VOR is at 114.35. And the localizer is 109.75.
Channel 232, good morning. Airborne frequency 132.575.
Okay, same thing for nav 2. 114.35. And then the ILS is 109.75. Okay, our radios are all set. Well, let's set the V2 value of 134 into our airspeed reference and arm the auto throttle. Auto throttle is armed. Okay, Linda, before taxi procedure.
Before taxi procedure. Before taxi procedure complete. I am ready for before taxi checklist.
Before taxi checklist.
Before taxi checklist. Generators. On. Probe heat. On.
Delivery, good morning,
Anti-ice. Wing anti-ice off. Engine anti-ice off. Isolation valve. Auto. Engine start switches. Continuous. Recall.
Correction 6 Mike Echo, excellent.
Checked.
Checked. Auto brake. Rejected takeoff. Engine start levers.
United 2-2, heavy Bashima.
Idle D10.
Yeah, we should be ready in about
Idle detent.
2-2, heavy, roger.
Flight control.
135.50.
Okay, let's bring up the flight control page.
First waypoint on your FMC off runway 28.
Okay,
Alright, elevator. Left aileron.
2-2,
Right aileron.
You can call 121.8.
Left rudder.
Push.
121.8 when ready to push.
Right rudder. Checked.
Checked. Flaps.
Flaps 5.
Flaps 5 set. Green light. Detent. Ground equipment.
Canada 8, Echo Juliet, Oscar Echo check. 132.575 when airborne. Monitor 121 decimal 8, there will be a delay on your push.
That's copy of today, equals Juliet 12575 on airborne, and we monitor 121. Okay, thank you very much.
Clear.
Clear. Before taxi checklist complete. Ready for taxi.
Set stabilizer for takeoff.
Trim up.
Okay, let's go into map position. And let's contact the ground. And let's request taxi. Brandenburg ground, good evening. Zibo 7378 is ready for taxi.
Zibo 7378, taxi to runway 07 right. Contact tower on 119.575 when on holding point.
Taxi to runway 07 right. Contact tower on 119.575 when on holding point. Zibo 7378. All right, let's release the parking brake. And taxi straight ahead. Take the last left. Hold short of runway 07 right.
Hello, taxi onto Hotel 1, left hand along way 16, hold short on runway 8. Hotel 1, left hand 16, hold short 28, turn left hand 6.
Cabin crew, take your seats, prepare for takeoff.
Okay, here's our left turn.
Zibo 7378, contact tower on 119.575. Have a nice flight.
Contact tower on 119.575. Zibo 7378.
Number 4, zero golf taxi onto Echo 1, hold short 34 and 28, contact frequency 118.6.
Okay, let's set the parking brake. Landing lights on. Beacon light on.
Already on.
Okay, Linda. Before takeoff procedure.
Before takeoff procedure.
My try to taxi now onto Fox 1, hold short of Maple. Fox 1, hold short.
Before takeoff procedure complete. Ready for before takeoff checklist.
Before takeoff checklist.
Before takeoff checklist. Flaps.
Flaps 5.
Hello, taxi onto Hotel 1, left hand along runway 16, hold short.
Flaps 5 set. Green light. Detent. Stabilizer trim. 4-5 units set. Transponder. TARA set. Before takeoff checklist complete.
Okay, let's contact the tower. And let's request takeoff. Brandenburg Tower, good evening. Zibo 7378 on holding point of runway 07 right, ready for departure.
Zibo 7378, wind is calm, runway 07 right, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 07 right, Zibo 7378. Alright, let's taxi on to runway 07 right.
Runway 07 right confirm. I am ready for takeoff.
Okay, let's set the parking brake. Let's turn on the cockpit timer. Let's verify we have symmetrical thrust.
Stabilized.
And toga.
Takeoff thrust set. 80 knots.
Cross
Throttle
check.
hold.
Rotate.
Positive rate.
Gear up.
Gear up. Zibo 7378, altimeter 29.44. Contact Bremen radar on 124.800. 5. Acceleration altitude.
Altimeter 29.45. Contact Brennan radar on 124.800. Goodbye, Zibo 7378. Okay, let's contact Brennan radar. And make our initial call. Brennan radar, good evening. Zibo 7378 at 2,300 feet.
Zibo 7378, turn right heading 081, climb to 9,000 feet.
Turn right heading 081, climb to 9,000 feet. Zibo 7378. Okay, let's speed up to 200 knots. Flaps 2.
Flaps 2 set.
Flaps 1.
Flaps 1 set. Approaching
Flaps.
transition.
Flaps up.
Heading 210, Kelly.
Flaps up set. Transition altitude.
10-110, Cathay.
Zibo 7378, turn right heading 101, climb to 15,000 feet.
Turn right heading 101, climb to 15,000 feet. Zibo 7378.
Heading flat on 1.
After takeoff checklist. Turn the wipers off
After
here.
takeoff checklist. Engine bleeds. On. Packs. Auto. Landing gear. Up and off. Flaps. Up. No light. Detent. After takeoff checklist down to the line complete.
Okay, let's set our decision height to 228 feet.
Flight level 100. Landing lights switches off.
And let's go down the CDU and enter our landing data. I'm going to do flaps 30 at 132 knots. Okay, let's turn towards LUROS.
1,000 to level off.
1,000 to go.
Zibo 7378, expect runway 22.
Expect runway 22, Zibo 7378.
Ready for descent procedure.
Okay, let's go do our approach briefing. Localizer frequency is 109.75. Station name is IDRW. And the final approach course is 218 degrees. Decision height is 228 feet. Airport elevation is 750 feet. And we're going to do flaps 30 with a VRAF of 132. Slow down to 180 here in preparation for our descent. Descent procedure.
Descent procedure. Descent procedure complete. Ready for descent checklist.
Descent checklist.
Descent checklist. Pressurization.
Landing altitude.
Landing altitude 750 set. Recall.
Checked.
Auto brake.
Auto brakes 3.
Set. Landing data.
Flaps 30. 132 knots.
V reference 132. Minimums 228 set. Approach briefing.
Complete.
Approach top of descent. Complete. Descent checklist complete. Zibo 7378, descend to 8,000 feet.
Descend to 8,000 feet, Zibo 7378.
Goedemorgen, KLM 88 Juliet, out 305, setting up 260 inbound to Item. KLM 88 Juliet, clear to Item, expect 189 and speed 260 knots. Speed 260 and Wyman, KLM 88 Juliet. Markeur van auto van
Zibo 7378, turn right heading 179er.
Turn right heading 179er, Zibo 7278.
Correct, in 80 to field to Hoogte Hoofdknop rijden is van een trein. Features speed.
Flight level 100, landing lights switches on.
Thousand to go.
1000 to level off.
Okay, let's listen to the EDDC ATIS.
Dresden Information Delta. 1500 Zulu weather. Wind calm, RVR2200, rain. Sky conditions indefinite overcast, temperature 13, dew point 13. Altimeter 2945. Arriving runway 04, departing runway 04. Advise on initial contact you have Delta.
Okay, we have Delta. Let's go back to center.
Zibo 7378, altimeter 29er.44, contact Dresden approach on 125.875. Expect runway 22 to land. Bye.
Altimeter 29.44, contact Dresden approach at 125.875. Expect runway 22 to land, Zibo 7278. Okay, let's contact Dresden approach at 125.875 and let's make our initial call. Dresden approach, Zibo 7378 with information Delta at 8,000 feet.
Zibo 7378, maintain 8,000 feet.
Maintain 8,000 feet, Zibo 7278. Okay, let's slow down to 170. Flaps 1. Flaps 2. Flaps 5. And flaps 10.
Flaps 10 set.
Zibo 7378, descend to 3,700 feet.
Descend to 3,700 feet, Zibo 7278.
Right heading 600, one side of it.
Approaching transition. Transition level. Ready for approach checklist.
Approach checklist.
Approach checklist. Altimeters.
29er, 0.45.
QNH 2945 set. Altitude passing 4,767 now.
1,000 to go.
Approach checklist complete. 1,000 to level off.
Alright, let's tune in the ILS, but only on nav 1. Let's go to approach mode. We'll set the course now to 218. Okay, let's wait until we see the localizer active. Okay, localizer active. That's arm approach mode.
Localizer capture.
Localizer capture.
South 16, Hotel 16, good.
Okay, let's slow down to 160.
Good morning, it's EDDB 541321, information received, change level 160. 160 on rate, go left. Good, and then 546, flash level 140, returning attitude. Level 140.
And let's do flaps 15.
Zibo 7378, turn left heading 216.
Flaps 15 set.
Turn left heading 216, Zibo 7378. Set our heading now to the runway heading. Okay, let's slow down to 150. And let's go to flaps 25.
Flaps
And
25 set.
Flaps 30.
Flaps 30 set.
Gear down.
Gear down. Ready for landing checklist.
Landing checklist.
Landing checklist. Engine start switches.
Continuous.
Glide slope capture.
Glide slope capture.
Continuous. Speed brake.
Arm.
Armed. Landing gear.
Down.
Down. Flaps.
Flaps 30.
Set for landing. Landing checklist complete.
Okay, let's slow down to
Zibo
VREF
7378,
plus 5.
cleared for ILS approach runway 22. Contact tower on 122.9 or 30 when established. Bye.
2500.
Cleared for ILS approach, runway 22. Contact tower on 122.9 or 30 when established. Zibo 7378. Okay, we are established. Let's contact the tower. 122.9 or 30. Let's make our initial call. Dresden Tower, Zibo 7378 approaching runway 22.
Zibo 7378, identified. Continue your approach.
Okay, our missed approach altitude is 5,000 feet. Runway heading is 218. Let's bring the HUD down. And move forward in our seat. Turn on the flight path vector.
Cabin crew, take your seats, prepare for landing.
Okay, let's disengage the auto throttle.
Zibo 7378, wind is calm, runway 22, cleared to land.
Cleared to land, runway 22, Zibo 7378.
1,000.
1,000 feet, stabilized, Mr. Birch, altitude set.
Taxi lights on.
Okay, runway in sight.
Cleared to land runway 22.
400. Approaching minimums. Minimum 200. $100. 50. 40, 30, 20, 10.
Speed brake up. Reverse unlocked. V1. Rotate. Auto brake in use.
Zibo 7378, contact ground on 121.9 or 80.
60 knots. Nice landing. Really not bad this time.
Contact ground on 121.980, Zibo 7378. Okay, let's contact ground. And let's make our initial call. Dresden ground, Zibo 7378 on runway 22.
Zibo 7378, taxi to apron 1 gate 32.
Taxi to apron 1, gate 32, Zibo 7378.
Flaps upset.
Okay, looks like we're going to be able to make taxiway Bravo.
Airport 2007, stand by for tower 118.3. Good day. 118.3 here for the 2007 state. Hello, 564 ground from Tapulbak approach facing south, QNH 1015. South is approved, and 1015 is south, I will see from the push approach.
Landing lights off.
Pushback is approved.
All right. Let's see how our landing plots look. Oh, well, I've seen worse. 219 feet per minute. Started our flare at 27 feet, pretty close. Flare lasted 7 seconds, and we bounced the nose gear. Throttle down at 16, that's a little late. 1.36 Gs. Only spent a second on the rear gear. That concludes this video.